First day of the year so far. Top down, of course. This is what these cars are made for. These kind of roads are excellent. I don't know who Buzz is, but someone's obviously been here before me. Okay, so we're going to go over the top 5 things I was looking for when I was buying one of these cars. We've got a nice setting today. Not quite down the beach, but we're at the seaside. And when I was looking for this car, I looked at quite a few. And these are just the top 5 things that I look for. Well, not necessarily the top 5 things that you would look for, but it just depends on how much work you want to do yourself, how much money, what your budget is, and how much time you want to put into them, because these cars do take a bit of maintenance to keep them as nice as they are when they're new. And let's get straight into this. So, right, just before we get into my top 5, I'm going to show you a video from a dealership of a Mercedes SL that I considered buying before I bought the one I've got. So I looked at loads, because you've got loads to choose from in the UK, and this was a 2003 one. It was a black one, and I didn't buy it, and you'll find out why, because it didn't tick a lot of the 5 things I'm about to mention. But I just wanted to show you this sales video that I got from a dealer, and this is why I don't instantly gravitate to dealerships when I'm buying a used car like this, because sometimes it's better to get from a private buyer like I did with this one. But wait till you see this dealership video. So I asked them to show me the roof working, I asked them to start the engine and go down the back so I could see if there are any exhaust fumes. I asked them to show me the engine bay and the interior, and show me any evidence of the trunk having water coming into it or anything like that. So here is what I ended up getting from this dealer. So, first of all, he took the video as if he was standing on the moon, and second, he didn't show me any of the stuff that I asked for, despite me asking for it again. And third of all, I subsequently found out the roof, although he said it was working, only worked if you manually pulled off panels in the back, wound down one of the back windows by hand, and then put all the panels back together, then the roof would work. So, lots of kind of hidden things, lots of unanswered questions, lots of things that put me off even going to see the car. Plus, you'll find out from my top 5 it didn't tick a lot of the boxes. So let's get into the top 5 of things that I looked for to make sure I was getting the car that I really wanted. These 5 aren't in any particular order, but I had to check all 5 of these boxes when I was looking for one of these cars in order for me to buy one. So let's get straight into it. Number 5 is, does the car have ABC suspension? Now, if you've looked for one of these cars or you know someone that's got one, you'll know the stories behind ABC suspension. It's essentially a hydraulic suspension system that goes over all 4 wheels, and each strut isn't a standard pneumatic strut, it's hydraulic. It can be controlled independently, and the car can be raised and lowered depending on what you're driving over. Like, so this type of terrain, you probably raise it. And it is a great system. Car corners flat as a pancake. Sorry about that. It's a great system. Car corners flat as a pancake. But it can be very expensive if it goes wrong. Now, with the age of car I was looking at, pretty much guaranteed there's going to be something wrong. A valve block, a hydraulic strut might be leaking, one of the accumulators might be away. So in the UK, you're talking £600-700 a corner to buy a strut, and probably £1,000 if you were getting it fitted by someone per corner if you had to replace a strut. Then it's the time involved in actually diagnosing any leaks that are happening with it, which could be a valve block, could be a rusted pipe, could be an accumulator ball that's leaking. But again, it's going to cost a fair bit of money. Now, the SL350 came with a hydraulic suspension as an option. To tell if your car's got it or not is easy. Get in the car, look at the gear stick, that button there will will say ABC on it, and this one here will have a little car to raise or lower the suspension. So if it's blank like mine is, your car doesn't have it. And this one has just got regular pneumatic struts and springs, which I can cope with myself if I go wrong, and it costs a lot less. SL500s and above all came with it. Don't get me wrong, if money was no object, I would buy an SL65 AMG, the hydraulic suspension, and just replace whatever needs replacing. But as I was buying this car on a bit of a budget, the SL350 without it was the best option for me. So number 4, straight into number 4, was, does the roof work? And if not, what's wrong with it? So with this one, the roof did work when I got it. The windows, these little windows, come down a bit to let the roof go back, as does the main windows. But you've got a lot of mechanisms in the roof that can make it fail, a lot of micro switches that can make it fail. Shortly after I bought this car, the roof did fail. If you want, I'll put the video up on the cards, and you can go and check out how I fixed my roof for less than 40 quid. Or let's just say 40 quid, fixed it. But they can fail and they can go wrong, and you need to be able to know where to look for fixing. I've got a whole video on how I fix my roof, so go and check it out. Number 3 was there any signs of water in the trunk? So, as this is a convertible hardtop, lots of places for water to get in and leak. And the one thing I wanted to check with this one, did any water get in the trunk? If you're looking for one of these, best way to do that is get into the trunk, take this cover off, take out the spare wheel, and check that there's no signs of water anywhere down there. Now the trunk does have secondary battery, the house battery, and the hydraulic pump for the roof, and the PSE pump for pneumatic locks. And these sponges here reach down there once you take the wheel out, and you'll be able to feel any water that's soaked up in those sponges, because they'll just completely attract absolutely every drop that comes in here. This one was leaking when I got it, and it was leaking from this, the main seal, dripping down here, settling there, same at the other side. Put the video up in the cards if you want to see how I repaired that for probably less than £10. New seal from Mercedes is about 250. But again, an important thing, because if water gets into the trunk, Sons of Anarchy passing me there, if water gets into the trunk, there's a lot of important stuff down there that it can damage, so pretty important to check that. Okay, so number 4, the fourth thing was, for me, was the interior. Now these cars come with they all come with wood trim, unless you get the SL65 AMG, and they've got the wood trim panel in here and on the doors, and I didn't want the light wood trim. This is actually dark wood trim, but you can't really tell from far away because it is the darker colour, so it is a nicer tone, and I wanted the dual tone leather interior. Don't know if most of them come with that as standard, but this one did. And this one's also got the facelifted panel here. So in the previous models, the 2003s to 5s, this panel continued all the way up around the command unit there, and it was an older style command unit. So this one's got the newer upgraded one for 2005. This isn't a facelift car, because it has still got the 3.7 litre engine, but it's got the facelift dash. So that was one of the things that I really wanted it to have. And finally, the last thing, number 1 in this list it will be, but the 5th thing in total, was the general condition of the paintwork. Now, that isn't particular to an SL, of course, but with the number of places that an SL can leak, the roof seal here, along the sides here, the roof seal at the back, the trunk seal, the boot lid itself, there's a lot of places that water can get in. Now mine's got a slight bit of rust there on the corner of the trunk lid, and that is literally the only rusty part of the car. They are pretty known for rusting in their wheel arches as well, but this one had been taken care of in garage, so the wheel arch rust was very minimal. But it is something to take into account because bodywork rust in these, they are getting old now. This is a 17-year-old car, so bodywork rust and bits that have been leaking and damaged is something to take into account. So that's the top 5 things that I look for. Not necessarily saying your top 5 will be the same, but mine ticked all 5 of those boxes, this one here, and I'm happy with it so far. So I hope that's helped anyone that's perhaps looking to buy an SL of this generation. Thank you very much, and please hit the like button if this was any good to you, and subscribe because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this and other cars. Thanks again, bye bye.